All right, want me to demonstrate it first or just have you try it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is top secret shit, folks, so pay attention.
Yates row, created by Dorian Yates, fucked up by me on a regular basis. The way I like to do them is use a decent amount of lower back. I stop right at my knees. I'll try and show you guys. You know, this does build a lot of size as well, but a lot of bodybuilders, you know, would probably say it's crap and ego. Stop right about here, and I'll use a lot of lower back from about here to there, and then just kind of pull it up. Something like that.
Getting a little momentum out of the bottom of it.
Quite a bit of momentum. And I'll touch it real low down here, and I'm pretty upright when it's touching. I'll usually even lower myself to it a little bit, but that's just, I don't think that actually does anything great for me. I mean, it's just cheating.
What Ed Cohn was mentioning about like cheating or getting momentum was that he said what some people kind of look at as cheating really shouldn't be looked at that way necessarily, because all you're trying to do is get momentum so that you can pull yourself in the right position. So without getting that little bump out of the bottom, you wouldn't be able to do. How much weight can you use on this?
Yeah, I can go up to, I can probably do 585 for reps. You know,
yeah, I mean, without getting that little bump out of the bottom, if you tried to use 585, you'd literally probably just be moving it like this if you're trying to do it strict.
Yeah.
So by getting that little momentum, you're able to then pull your elbows. I noticed you had the kind of deep elbow position, which Stan Efferding came and talked to us about when he talked about building up lats as well. So I think it's important that you get that momentum.
Yeah, I'd say it's, you know, extremely important, honestly. It is using lower back, it is using hamstrings and all that kind of shit. We're powerlifting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want it all to work together. We're not trying to isolate really anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless maybe we're doing ab work or some shit, but that's for our non-isolated exercises.
Right.
So I prefer to cheat on a lot of stuff. As long as I'm not like, I wouldn't cheat and round my back.
Right.
I wouldn't get an extra 5 reps because I'm doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But like, as long as I can keep my back in the right position and the muscles that I'm trying to get stronger are being worked the way I'm wanting them to be worked, I actually find this to be pretty crucial for strength around my knees and lockout and stuff. It's always been an exercise that I've done. Like I said, there's five super big deadlifters I know of that do this exact exercise more or less, pretty much the exact same way. And they all use around similar weights too. They're all between 400 for high reps and 500 and 600 for low reps. So I mean, if everyone else is doing it, it's got to be worth something, right? I highly recommend it. It's my favorite lat exercise. If I had to choose one for deadlifts, it would be this, for sure.
Let's see what it looks like when Silent Mike does it.
What about knee bend and then like torso angle? You said you kind of try to finish a little upright?
Yeah, I'm pretty upright. I usually don't end up more upright than I am at the bottom because I pull myself to the bar a little bit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I always stay kind of the same back position, give or take, some cheating.
Knees just slightly bent?
Yeah, just slightly bent. Yeah, try and stop right at your knees. Yeah, just like that. And make sure that the bar never drifts too far out in front of you. You want it maybe a ½ inch away from your knee at the most.
Do you think, if you can catch it from the side, Mike, do a few more reps? You know, sometimes we see some like buckling and real rounding from the shoulders here. Do you think this exercise kind of helps you get through that in the deadlift?
Absolutely. This is the best thing for keeping your back from rounding and stuff. It's the best thing I could ever recommend anyone. People that round their lower back, round their upper back, specifically upper back, you know what I mean? But any kind of back rounding, this is going to work wonders.
Right.
Because you're constantly keeping yourself in that right position while having a pretty big weight constantly try and pull you out of it. You know what I mean? So you're not really going to have a whole lot of problems rounding your back if you're always doing a lot of exercises that demand you maintain proper posture and stuff.
How many sets do you do of this?
You know, if I'm going very light, I think the most I've ever done for sets and stuff at 405 for like 10 sets of 10. You know what I mean? Which again,
German volume.
I really like 10 sets of 10. I really do.
Yeah.
But only on lighter stuff. You know what I mean? Like 405 for this is pretty light for me. Typically, though, I'll just do one set. You know what I mean? It's quite dangerous.
And when you say you do one set, that's you're doing a little bit of a warm up first, and then you're doing.
I'll warm up as much as I need to, 5 to 10, reps for a plate every set kind of thing, and then I'll get up to 405 to 550, and I'll do one kind of all-out set. And then afterwards, as long as I didn't hurt myself, I'm happy. I move on to something else and something safer where I can get a similar result without risking as much. Because, you know, all this kind of stuff really is like, if you're not doing it properly, if it's enough weight, it's hard enough, it's enough reps that if you don't maintain proper form, if you let yourself get really fatigued and then like let your form break down in your third set, like it's as dangerous as deadlifting, if not significantly more so. You know what I mean? Yeah. In my opinion. So I'll usually just do one set on the really dangerous shit and then just push it every week, kind of like DC style training.
Yeah. You've accumulated a lot of strength. Do you think it might be maybe a little bit more important for somebody who's newer to focus in on maybe doing a couple more sets rather than just like one set, or do you think it's decent for each person just to try to get after it the way you're doing it, one kind of all-out set?
You know, if I have people do one set, I have them doing a lot of something else. Okay. You know what I mean? So I definitely train with less volume than I'd have a beginner use, simply because for me, if I tried to match them, like I'm working so much harder to be, you know what I mean? It's just, it's not even remotely the same. So, I mean, I'll have, if you deadlift like 315, I might say, you know, take 135 and start at 3 sets to failure. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. If you deadlift 600 pounds or 700 pounds or 800 pounds, I just say, you know, try and get up to 500 for reps on one set. Just try and add an extra rep every week. And then go do all your safe stuff. You know what I mean? Your cables and your whatever, light shit.
All right, well, there's some rows, and he's going to take us through a few more assistance exercises.
We're going to do a Romanian deadlift. You know, there's probably like 40 different ways to do Romanian deadlifts. Like, interchangeable with stiff leg and all that crap. I'm going to show you guys the way I like to do them. Specifically, you know, it is a great exercise for building muscle and stuff. Like, great for hamstrings and glutes and whatnot. But I mean, I'm doing this for strength, so it's a little bit different. I take the same grip that I would take when deadlifting, same stance I would take when deadlifting. It's about like this for me. I do high reps on these. What I'll do is, just like I'm deadlifting, I'll bend my knees and everything. I'll take the bar to about mid-shin and a little bit past my knees, just like that. And I'll just keep it moving, just like this. And I'll do about 20 reps.
Kind of looks like what Westside Barbell refers to as a Dimmel deadlift.
Yeah, very much so. Slightly different, because I'm thinking they're doing it for a little bit more quads and stuff.
Yeah. I think they start a little bit higher and end a little bit higher, and you're just going mid-range.
I just do these specifically for strength from here to here. It's incredible. I mean, it's like, you wouldn't believe it if you did them for a little while. You can actually get probably stronger on these than deadlifts, at least in this, you know, high rep ranges, because you don't want to try your max on these.
Most of these movements that you're doing, you're using straps for, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I could never.
Yeah, who cares? I mean, you're doing it for specific. You're targeting specific muscles. You're not really worried about your grip at that point.
Yeah, not at all. You know, nowadays with hook grip and deadlift bars and stuff, it's just not necessary to, you know, do barehanded stuff all the time.
Right.
And obviously, you know, it takes a lot longer to get your deadlifting muscle strong than your grip. You know, you can get your grip up to par in 6 months. Might take 6 years to get your deadlift where you want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll do these. You know, I probably do them at least every other week, and I'll do usually about 20 reps, maybe 30. Probably as low as 15 sometimes. Yeah. And I'll probably go, if it's really light, if it's like, again, the beginning of like a peaking program or something, I might just come in and do like 405 for 20. Super easy. Row 315 for 20. Like 200 pounds off of, you know, what I could probably do kind of thing. Right. And then I'll add 50 pounds of workout, and pretty soon it's 550 and it's 20 and it's very hard. It's 585, it's you know, 20, it's very hard. And, you know, I might get up to like 635 or something, and I'll usually drop them around there. It's not something I like to use a lot of weight on, although you end up using a lot of weight anyway, just even when you do high reps. But it's a great exercise, and it very strongly mimics your deadlift. I do them exactly how I deadlift to the best of my ability, other than, of course, the very top part. I don't like to lock out, because I feel like it becomes more upper back and stuff than what I'm trying to do.
Taking some of the tension off. When you go all the way up, you relax.
And then people tend to, when they get up to here, they tend to keep it on their back throughout the movement afterwards. You know, I'm really just looking to keep it on my hamstrings and stuff. I don't want to get up here, have my lats involved, and then from there on out, it's like an upper back movement as well. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit about my upper back with these. I don't care if it's, you know, doing a lot of work or not. It's purely for here to here. And as far as training that area, I've never found anything better. You know, if you combine Yates rows, that it's going to strengthen from here to here, with Romanians, it's going to strengthen from here to here, with deadlift stance box squats, which are going to strengthen from here to here, you got a pretty good combination of shit, making it so you can lock out some really heavy weights. throw in some barbell shrugs at the top, get up to, let's say you want to deadlift 800 pounds, you're at 750, you get up to 800 for 20 on shrugs. Might take you 2 or 3 months, you know what I mean? It's a lot easier than people think. You know, you could shrug 400 pounds over your deadlift max if you trained for it for probably a set of 10 if you wanted, if you really wanted. You get up to 1,000 pounds for 20 if you tried.
Yeah, you work on it for a little while.
Yeah. So by the time it's all said and done, every little position there is just worked so thoroughly, worked so effectively, and you're stronger in every single spot. There's no, when you deadlift, you know, you get a lot of momentum off the floor and stuff. It carries through those weak areas and shit. You don't get the same targeted response that you're really shooting for. Like you could with like floor presses for bench or like board presses or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, also too, the movements that you showed us so far, the Yates row and this one, it seems like they would, and you even touched upon it a little bit, they're going to help you maintain a better position throughout the movement, but they also look like they're going to help you get into a better position in the first place. Yeah. This one's kind of stretching your hamstrings out a little bit and helping you, teaching you to sit back like you were teaching us earlier.
Yeah.
And then also the other one is just really activating the lats and keeping everything in close and tight the way you were showing us to set up on the deadlift.
Yep, very much so. The assistance work is largely responsible for good form, you know, good technique and stuff. If you have a lagging muscle group, because you never do rows and stuff, you know, of course your upper back is probably going to round. You know, it's probably rounded all the time. You probably walk around like this. Why would it be any different when you deadlift? You know what I mean? So as long as you target each little area, keep PRs at each little area, constantly push, you can get away with doing 1 set per exercise. You know what I mean? Because you're doing so much different stuff that it's almost like you do 5 different exercises with 1 set apiece. Is that, you know, any different than doing 1 exercise with 5 sets? Not really. It's probably more effective than that because you hit all those different angles and all those different things instead. So I'm a pretty big believer in more exercises versus just stick with 1 and do more sets kind of thing.
All right, we're going to move on to another assistance exercise. That was the Romanian deadlift with George Leeman. Show us what's up, big guy.
All right, this is a deadlift stance box squat. Obviously, another thing, you know, I kind of got from someone else and put my own tweaks on it and stuff over the years. I like to squat with my deadlift stance specifically for strength off the floor. I like to do it to a box because I believe it, you know, better mimics your deadlifting training, more or less. As you guys will see, he's going to use the same stance he deadlifts in. For conventional, it's something like that. We're going to use a box simply because you can keep your shins a little bit more upright, similar to how you would when deadlifting. You also pause at the bottom, similar to how you would when deadlifting, and it really allows you to sit back into it and kind of like really, the more you sit back, obviously, the more forward you have to lean to come back up, which again, very much like a deadlift.
It's going to allow you to get in a position that's going to represent your deadlift, and if you were to do a regular squat, you wouldn't really be able to get into this position without it being awkward at some point.
Yeah, super, super awkward. Sometimes people don't have a box, and I'm like, just make one. And it's not the same shit.
All right.
Probably both would be helpful, but this is the best, so we'll stick with this. I've been doing this for like 8 years or something like that. I think I started when I was 15. I had been hurt squatting, wide stance squatting. My inner thigh got screwed up from going from box squats to regular squats without the in-between. And I had to do close stance box squats for a while to work through an inner thigh injury. And I also couldn't deadlift. So I ended up doing about 6 weeks of close stance box squatting. And when I came back, I deadlifted my first 600 pounds. So my best before that was 550. So I realized pretty fast, I was like, there's something to this shit. You know what I mean? Like, this is something to stick with. And everyone I've worked with so far has done them, assuming that they were able to without pain. And everyone's really liked them. You just have to stick with them for long enough to get progress on them. You know what I mean? Trying for one workout, you won't necessarily see a result, like any exercise. Doing for 8 weeks in a row, adding 20 pounds a week, starting with a set of 15, you're probably going to be a lot stronger. It's probably going to be a lot of carryover. So let's kind of show this.
Your hips on this movement are going to be a little bit lower than a deadlift.
Yes.
But that's fine because you want to start from a lower position to kind of break through some of the sticking points, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. If you want to have your hips low, do box squats with your hips lower than that, you know? Bring your, yeah, there you go. Now just try and sit back and keep your shins pretty upright. They'll come forth a little bit. Pause, come back up. Fantastic. I might even have you do slightly more low bar than that and kind of stay bent over at the top. If possible, just kind of stay in a good morning position even at the top of the lift. Never really come out of it. There you go.
You kind of look at the challenge that this provides the lower back here. As he gets to the bottom, his back has to kind of sag a little bit. And then in order to get back out of there, he's got to reverse that by kind of straightening himself out.
And as you guys can see from the side there, this is almost exactly the same as a conventional deadlift at the bottom. The only thing you're really missing here is the lockout portion and the lat involvement. But in terms of legs and lower back, like, there probably isn't a better exercise for leg drive and stuff, in my opinion. It will work wonders for people. If you deadlift with your hips high, do a lot of these, put 150 pounds on whatever you can do with this, expect your deadlift to be up considerably, assuming, you know, you're injury-free, training everything else right and all that kind of shit. It's pretty incredible. People would be surprised. You know
Similar
what I mean?
set and rep scheme to what you're normally talking about.
Yeah, typically harder exercises, something like this, because you're going to do Romanians, because you're going to do rows, because you're going to do shrugs, you're going to do deadlifts, you're going to do all this shit, one set.
Yeah.
It's all that's needed. I have done more sets in the past. I have had people do more sets in the past. I don't really care. If you do one set of 15, good enough, as long as you're stronger next week. If you're not getting stronger next week, I guess we'd have to do more volume or some shit. But, you know, it's anytime you get to a new exercise, it's going to go up regardless.
You find a way to challenge yourself. Would you say maybe like on a scale of 1 to 10, you're just simply trying to challenge yourself maybe like a notch more each week?
Absolutely.
So maybe week 1, just because you haven't done some of these movements before, maybe you're only at like a 5 or 6, like you're kind of pussyfooting around a little bit.
That's actually a very, very good point. Anytime I do any kind of peaking programs, I start people off very light and very easy. I tell people to start off, people think I always train with 20 reps and shit. You know, some things I stick with high reps all the time, back, rows, whatever. Typically, I have people start with high reps just so they can go lighter, just so they're not going super heavy and super hard, because they don't even know what weight to use, and they never quite go to absolute failure at 15. You know, they're always held back a little bit, and that's my main reason for doing so, aside from
week 1, use 185 and bust out 20 reps.
Exactly.
And someone's like, oh, that's not that hard. And you say, okay, well, next week we're using 225.
And that's enough. Even if they didn't kill themselves doing it, even if they could have got another 5, that added stimulus that they're not used to is plenty to be 20 pounds stronger next week for the same rep range. And you know, you keep pushing a little bit harder and a little bit harder, eventually you're 100-something pounds stronger on a lift that you haven't been doing. All of a sudden your deadlift is significantly different, because where you were 100 pounds weaker, now you're 100 pounds stronger, and your form's drastically different because of it. And you can be more upright, you can be stronger off the floor. You know, you get in that good starting position, everything's better. You know, it's not just stronger off the floor, everything's good. You know, you suddenly you lock out better, you get it past your knees easier, you know, it's faster, everything works out really well.
Now here's something really complicated. Mike does sumo deadlifting, which is cheating, let's be honest.
Right.
So what would it look like if he was going to try to have this mimic a sumo deadlift?
You know, people that do like super wide sumo, like toes almost touching the plate, I don't typically recommend they actually do box squats that wide, quite that wide. I'd have them bring their feet in the tiniest bit.
Might tweak the hips a little too much or groin.
But basically the exact same principle. It might even work better for sumo, honestly, because, you know, more or less, wide stance box squats are the shit. They really are. For building muscle, glutes, hamstrings and stuff, there may not be anything better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I know of. I used to do tons of them, like tons and tons and tons of them. The only thing I don't like about them is, you know, they're not a regular squat. You know, you can't replace your regular squat and do well with regular squatting.
Yeah, you can't take your box squat to the meet and be like, here it is.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be nice, right?
Right.
And I find it to, for me, it's caused a lot of injuries thinking that was the case. Because I'm sure you remember, you know, whatever it was 5 to 10 years ago, it was all equipped lifting and it was all regular squats. Wide stance, super illegally, you know, fucking out here, you know, shins going backwards and shit. Like you could never ever do that. And as soon as you take the box away and, you know, want to see your newfound strength, it's just not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your knee comes forward and you don't have the same back positioning.
You're sticking your ass back out for nothing. There's nothing to sit back onto. And all of a sudden, you know, where you would normally feel pretty strong at the bottom when you touch the box, you just keep going down.
Right.
You know
So the main thing here, though, is if he's going to do a sumo, if he's trying to have this relate to a sumo, he would just go a little wider than normal.
Just try and mimic the stance a little bit better. And it will have the exact same, you know, carryover as for conventional.
Just have you do a set. Put Silent Mike through the ringer here.
Yep. That would be perfect. Very much so the bottom of a sumo deadlift, you know. It takes the lats and stuff out of it. You know, you don't get the same lockout power and stuff. But for strength off the floor, it's just incredible. And that's what's going to keep people, like you notice you pull with your hip side, a lot of extension versus driving downwards and staying more upright and shit. That will change that, you know, to a huge degree. Do you normally do wide stance box squats or anything like that?
I have in the past a ton, yeah.
Okay. What's your strength like that?
Used to be good.
As compared to your regular squat, I mean, and your deadlift and stuff.
Used to be about similar as my regular squat, which is a little bit below my deadlift.
What do you squat roughly?
575.
And deadlift roughly?
630, 650.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that's more or less probably what you're missing. If you could keep working on this kind of thing, you'd probably be a little bit stronger with your hips a little bit lower. You know, wide stance box squats and stuff, I find them significantly easier than a regular squat.
Yeah.
I know it's not necessarily supposed to be the case. I've been told it shouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done like 770 or some shit like that, and I was like 18.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you probably want to get it like closer to your deadlift. As close as you can get it to your deadlift, the stronger you're going to be with your hips low, and then the whole thing is just going to be feeling great and incredible.
Also back to like positioning and mobility and stuff. This is actually squishing you down in position.
Yep.
You know, where the deadlift, we have to figure out a way to organize our body from the top. How do I pull myself in a position? You had a bunch of weird ways of like pushing the hips back, sitting way back, using the bar, tucking your lats in and doing all these things. You could just simply put the bar on your back and have it push you down into those positions, right?
Yep. Get yourself down there, find that tight spot where you get all that power from and stuff. And yeah, exactly what you're talking about. Fantastic exercise. I highly recommend them. I don't have people do a lot of wide stance box squatting because they do so much other shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, if I could fit in everything I'd like, they'd always be in there.
Right.
Always. Great exercise for people with bad knees and shit, right? But yeah, very important. Highly recommend them. Whether it's sumo, conventional, do them. High reps, get stronger at them.
Just going to call them the Leeman squat. Make it easier on everybody. And then plus, because you guys don't think that he does any squats. Anyway, that's it with George Leeman. We got a few more exercises to go through. He's going to show us some stuff for the abs. All right, George Leeman's going to walk us through about 3 ab exercises, 4 ab exercises. The first one is just a hanging leg raise.
Yep. Go ahead and grab hold of it. I don't really do anything real special. Just pull your knees up more or less. I kind of try and keep my lower back a little bit arched, but that's about it. Legs somewhat bent. I don't worry about keeping them too straight. I find this kind of targets lower abs pretty good. I try and just work from top to bottom kind of thing, everything. Obliques, upper abs, lower abs.
Should you be shaking like that and shimmying?
It's probably because you don't do those typically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You
it's been a while.
Yeah.
I used to.
It's worth doing. You know what I mean? I've done a ton of ab work, and this is one of the best ones. You know what I mean? So worth doing. Aside from this, I like a weighted crunch. All right, man. Go ahead and lay down on here.
Try not to fart.
Go ahead and grab the bar, unrack it.
Oh, I saw this. This is the 300 workout.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nah?
Sort of. Be a Spartan afterwards.
I hope so.
Now just try and touch the ceiling with the bar to the best of your ability. Just try and get up there. Crunch.
Crunch?
Oh yeah. Take your shoulder blades off the pad. You're crunching up kind of. Yeah. There you go. I'll usually go somewhere around 225. Do as many reps as I can. Really great ab exercise. It's very comfortable to use weight. Really great for upper abs.
Let's see what happens to him now.
I might get crushed.
Hope it lands right on the schnoz.
It's all right. It's just synthol.
Synthol on the schnoz.
Yeah, there you go. I'd probably have you start with like 95 or something just because.
10 reps, 20 reps.
High reps, as many reps as you can.
Okay.
Have
Some
one of
for
those
a few.
things, yeah,
Move
30,
around.
40, 50, who cares, right? Stimulate the muscle. Next exercise, side bends. Done these for years as well. Used to go up to 150s, you know, try and get 20 kind of thing. It will make your waist thicker. Your waist can only really get as thick as your hips, you know what I mean? So
Right.
not a big deal unless you really care. But we're
Yeah, I'm
powerlifters,
not going to
right?
look good in a Speedo.
Go ahead and grab that.
God damn.
I do a pretty small range of motion, you know what I mean? Just up and down like 4 inches.
Up,
kind of
down.
thing.
Which side?
That side.
4 inches is small?
Just like that.
I'm confused.
just
He
something
said
like that,
4
perfect.
inches is small?
Not a big believer in like trying to like touch your ankles or anything,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And if you were to spot him, would you spot him like this? I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
the new dance.
Here
right
is
there.
my handle. Here's my spell.
Yeah, that's going to be really useful and shit for just in general. People misload the bar and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's going to keep you from crippling yourself more or less. I also find it to be very useful in general because you push your obliques out against the belt too.
Right.
So it's important to train the whole thing. Why not, right? We're trying to be as strong as we can. Do an exercise for everything. It's always worked really well for me with deadlifts. It's the same principles applies to do an exercise for each different muscle group, each different area of the lift. Sooner or later, everything's really, really big and
develop
strong.
better control of those muscles, right?
Yes.
What else we got? We got the push out
We'll go
thing.
ahead and use this thing for that, actually. Let's go over to this bench here. I'm going to set this on your stomach. It's going to be pretty heavy.
Notice I'm making Mike do this.
Ow!
Let
Just farting everywhere.
Let it sink in and then push it out. Flex
What if I
it out.
shit on the bench?
It happens, man.
It's my bench, so
This has made you shit before?
Unfortunately not. It would be a good story, right? I'll do that for... It's very hard to breathe. That's mostly the limiting factor.
Yeah.
You come...
get the Kegel muscles in there,
come
Mike.
close to death. But 20 to 30 or something like that, 50 to 150 pounds. I might use 100. Nobody around here, don't use 150. It's not needed.
Right.
But
This
you could.
feels very weird.
And you're kind of holding it at the top a little bit for
Just
a
for
couple
a second.
seconds.
Yeah, just maybe a 2 count over and over again. This is going to be for you YouTube people. If your lower back is a 2x4, your abs are the 2x4 underneath. I like to explain it. You watch on TV, you'll see like a feat of strength. He'll be like an old guy who's going to have his stomach run over by a truck or something, and he's he's not
You
gonna
know
break
about
his
man
ribs.
squishing?
Yeah, man squashing.
He's not going to break his ribs because he's going to flex his abs out. This is what we're doing with the belt. We're flexing our abs against something, and this is what it's training. If you do a lot of these, you're going to have a lot of ability to push your abs out against your inner thigh or against your thighs in general when squatting, when deadlifting, and it's going to give you an incredibly strong core.
Let's see what it looks like when you do it.
If you did one
You
workout,
got a powerful belly.
oh yeah.
It
If
hurt
you
my
did-
face.
If you did one workout like this for a few sets, you would actually notice a difference within a day or so.
I've never seen this before.
It's one of those things where it looks weird, but it also looks like it would be a good tool to teach you how to use your stomach.
No, it felt a lot like I'm trying to push into my belt.
Yeah.
It felt the same. Yeah, it makes sense after you do it. It just looks crazy when you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, you're not serious, right? Like you're
Yeah, no,
triggering
but
me.
I felt it when I
No,
breathed.
if you were to do probably 2 sets of that tomorrow,
Yeah.
if you were to flex out and just feel it, it would be significantly stronger.
And whether it gets stronger or not, I think you could take a beginner and teach them how to brace that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a really good way
Yeah.
of teaching people how to activate
Yeah.
and use their core and stuff because a lot of people just really have no clue. Tell them to, make their core tight, they suck it in.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, they go like this
Yeah.
and they kind of crunch down like they're doing a crunch or something. Not at all. If anything, you do a reverse crunch and push out and make it bigger
Right.
and flex it. Never downwards and
Yeah.
inwards and that kind of shit.
Right.
That'd be the worst thing you could possibly do.
Right.
So that is
It kind of looks
probably
like me squatting, actually. It's like a demonstration.
that's actually probably the best ab exercise I've ever done. If I had to choose one, like I said, for back, it would be Yates rows.
Right.
For abs, it would be this. Probably in order of importance, that, then side bends, then leg raises, then weighted crunches. Weighted crunches are just like, you throw that shit in on the end, finish
Right.
everything up a little bit. It's easy, you get to lay down and unrack a bar and screw around, then rack it really easily.
Right.
Not a hard thing to do. I used to do 30, 40, even like 50 sets of abs and shit. I would just sit around and just do ab work, because it's, you can do 1,000 sit-ups and shit. It's not a big deal.
Right.
You can do tons of it. It doesn't.
It's not going to be like taxing to your body.
Yeah, it's
really.
not taxing. It's very easy to recover from. You build up work capacity very fast on it. But again, you could get away with 1 set per exercise if you don't already do them, or even if you already do abs. As long as you're doing it, I find abs are mostly just about doing it. You're getting a little extra stimulus, a little extra
Yeah.
that you hadn't been doing, and you're a little bit better than you were. The more you do, probably the better, right?
Yeah.
But
I would say like this kind of falls back into the thing of, listening to one of your motivational speeches where you kind of said, hey, like you're going to email me a question. It's only going to be 1 sentence. Hey, dude, how do I get my deadlift better? You're like, why would I help you when you're not putting that much effort into even emailing me? This is kind of a similar thing. Like you want your deadlift to get better. You're saying you want your deadlift to get better, but you're not taking care of all the details of making your deadlift better. Why aren't you doing your ab work? They should be doing this kind of stuff, right?
yeah, people already know that abs help your deadlift. They're interested in getting their deadlift up, but they don't do abs. You know what I mean? Do what you can do. If you know you should be doing something, do it. You know what I mean? Go ahead and throw some stuff in. You don't have to start off with the most hardcore shit in the world. Start off with like one set of abs, like one exercise, and just go from there. It's more than you were doing if you were doing nothing at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just kind of progress in weight and volume and frequency. I got up to doing abs every time I trained. I got up to you know, figuring out how to go heavier on ab work. You know, go up to the heavy dumbbells on side bends. Start doing, you know, weighted crunches like that kind of shit. It is important to use weight. I'm not one of those people that's like, you know, 200 sit-ups. I mean, no.
Right.
But somewhere between, you know, 20 and 40 for abs, I really like a lot. Any less than that, it starts to, you start working more like your hip flexors and shit when you're doing leg raises or sit-ups.
Right.
You know, you start working like your lower back and like you start doing weird shit with side bends where it's just, it seems dangerous, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going sideways with 150 pounds and stuff, it's just, it's not what you want to be doing. But just a little bit of like activation with these exercises, and I think people will notice like a significant difference in their ability to use their abs to help them off the floor, to not hurt their lower back and shit like that.
We all hate doing assistance work. What motivates you and drives you to get it all done?
It's just so much easier than all the other shit. You know what I mean? The assistance work is the easiest shit. I get like intimidated by deadlifts, man. Like I'm a week out from deadlifts and I'm like, whew, thank God it's a week out, because holy shit, like that's gonna be terrible when I go for it. There's always that chance of not doing well, or, you know, getting hurt, or not feeling good for it.
Yeah, there's some anxiety attached to it. With the side bend, there's no anxiety. You're not thinking, I got to do that 120 pound dumbbell for 8 reps today.
You're never, once you get done with the heavy stuff, you're like, thank God it's only leg curls and, you know, ab work and calf raises. It's the easiest shit to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you have the free time to get in and do it, it's fun. You know, you get to stick around the gym for longer. You feel better. You look better from doing all the extra work and stuff like that. And mentally, it's just kind of like you're working more towards your goals. You're just doing a little bit more. You know what I mean? I used to like playing video games and stuff, and you know, you work on your character and you do all these little things and you build up your rank and stuff. To me, it's kind of like that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you just train and train and train and do a little bit more, and eventually.
So the more that you, so for you, the more that you do, the more accomplished you feel.
Yes, more or less. I feel great when I do a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel really good about it. I feel like I can relax when I do enough. When I don't do enough, you know, I don't feel good about the week. You know what I mean? It's just not where I want to be at. I want to feel super successful about what I did, know I did my best, even if it's just, you know, I did a lot of leg curls, you know, I did a lot of rear delt flies, did a lot of ab work, I did 10 sets of calves. It's still more than I was going to do, and it makes me feel pretty good to know I'm pushing that little extra step. That's not mentally going to screw me over, because I don't want to do 10 sets of squats. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to dread that shit, and I might not even come to the gym if someone's going to tell me I have to do deadlifts for 4 sets, and then we're going to do rack pulls, and then we're going to do squats for 4 sets, and then all this other shit. I'd much rather just, you know, lighter, easier assistance work, stick around for longer, take my time, talk to people, you know, fuck around. It's not hard. You know what I mean? That's my motivation. It's easy.
Right. All right. Well, there's some ab exercises on how to deadlift from George Leeman. He showed us how to deadlift. He showed us all the other assistance exercises for deadlifting. It's really important. It's crucial to do it. He's the one doing it. He's breaking world records. He's smashing huge deadlifts. So make sure you get that shit done. You can check out his YouTube video. It is
GEO Leeman. You can look for me in George Leeman, musclemasochist.com. Check it out. More or less, you guys are going to see all the same shit you heard here. A little bit more detail, a little bit more videos. Coming out with new shit every day. Probably going to put out some more stuff in the next few days. Hopefully you guys will like it.
All right, and we also have Silent Mike here. He's got a vlog. Make sure you're following that at
youtube.com/Silent Mike. I think.
And that is it.
Just search Silent Mike. Search George Leeman. You'll fucking find us.
Strength is never a weakness, and that is it from Super Training Gym.